Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. This is not at all how we thought it was supposed to be. We had so many plans for you, we had so many dreams, and now you've gone away and left us with the memories of your smile. And nothing we can say and nothing we can do take away the pain of losing you. But we can cry with hope, we can say goodbye with hope, 'cause we know our goodbye is not the end. Oh, and we can breathe with hope, 'cause we believe with hope there's a place where we'll see your face again. We'll see your face again. And never have I known anything so hard to understand, and never have I questioned more the wisdom of God's plan. But through the cloud of tears, I see the Father smile and say, well done. And I imagine you where you wanted most to be, seeing all your dreams come true. 'Cause now you're home and now you're free. And we can cry with hope, we can say goodbye with hope, 'cause we know our goodbye is not the end. Oh, 'cause we believe that everything God promised us is true. So we can cry with hope, we can say goodbye with hope, 'cause we know our goodbye is not the end. Oh no. And we can breathe with hope, 'cause we believe with hope there's a place by God's grace. There's a place where we'll see your face again. You'll see your face again. So we can cry with hope and say goodbye with hope. We wait with hope, and we ache with hope. We hold on with hope. We let go with hope.
Sunny days seem to hurt the most. I wear the pain like a heavy coat. I feel you everywhere I go. I see your smile, I see your face. I hear you laughing in the rain. I still can't believe you're gone. It ain't fair, you died too young, like a story that hadn't just begun. But death tore the pages all away. God knows how I miss you, all the hell that I've been through. Just knowing no one could take your place. Sometimes I wonder who you'd be today. Would you see the world? Would you chase your dreams? Settle down with a family? I wonder what would you name your babies? Some days the sky's so blue, I feel like I can talk to you. And I know it might sound crazy. It ain't fair, you died too young, like a story that hadn't just begun. But death tore the pages all away. God knows how I miss you, all the hell that I've been through. Just knowing no one could take your place. Sometimes I wonder Sunny days seem to hurt the most. I wear the pain like a heavy coat. The only thing that gives me hope is I know I'll see you again someday. Someday, someday.
You walked with me, footprints in the sand, and helped me understand where I'm going. You walked with me when I was all alone, with so much unknown along the way. Then I heard you say, I promise you I'm always there. When your heart is filled with sorrow and despair, I'll carry you when you need a friend. You'll find my footprints in the sand. I see my life flash across the sky. So many times have I been so afraid. And just when I thought I lost my way, you gave me strength to carry on. That's when I heard you say, I promise you I'm always there. When your heart is filled with sorrow and despair, and I'll carry
Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Yeah, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Oh, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Oh, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance, and when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some helping heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance.
Is a wheel in constant motion.
I hope you dance.
So long.
I hope
Tell
you
me
dance.
who wants to look back on their youth and
I
wonder
hope you
where those
dance.
years have gone.
I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
Is a wheel in constant motion.
I hope you dance.
So long.
I hope you dance.
Wants to look back on their youth and
I
wonder
hope
where
you
years
dance.
have gone. Tell me who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone.
I thought that things like this get better with time, but I still need you. Why is that? You're the only image in my mind, so I still see you around. I miss you like every day. Wanna be with you, but you're away. Said I miss you
Jesus said, I am the resurrection and I am life, and those who believe in me, even though they die, yet shall they live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. I am the Alpha, I am the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. And I hold the keys of hell and death. Because I live, you shall live as well. Friends and family, we're gathered here today to praise God and to witness to our faith as we celebrate the life of Payton. We come together in grief and we acknowledge how much this hurts. God, we ask today that you grant us grace, that in pain we may find comfort, in sorrow, hope, and in death, resurrection. This is a day of hurt for a lot of us. As a pastor, I get a lot of those 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls. And they're all bad news. But I can't imagine getting one as a mom and daddy. So we are all shocked and heartbroken. But at the same time, this is a memorial service, but it's also a worship service. So I ask that you laugh. I ask that you smile. And I ask that you don't let tears not roll down your cheeks. Payton enjoyed life. And she wants you to know today that if you know Christ as your Savior, you'll see that young girl again.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some helping heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance.
It's a wheel
Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
I'd like to read two scriptures. The first one talks about how God doesn't want us to worry about this day because he's got our back. And the second one is John in Revelation, and he's trying through human words to describe heaven. There's no way that he can do it, but he gives it a try. So 1 Corinthians 15, where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? But thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. And then John trying his best to describe. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And then I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, see, the home of God is among mortals. God will dwell with them as their God. They will be his peoples, and God himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more such thing as death. There will be no more crying, no more mourning, and all the pain that you feel will pass away. He said, see, I am making all these things new. Also, he said, write this, for these words are trustworthy and true. Then he said, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water, and as a gift from the spring of the water of life it shall be given. Those who conquer will inherit these things, and I will be their God, and they will be my children. One of the most favorite things that I get to do as a pastor is I really, really, really wanted to be a youth pastor. And God said, really, really, you're not. I'm calling you to be a pastor. So what I was happy doing, being with kids, was not what I was fulfilled to be doing for God. But God gives me 1 week out of the year to hang out with kids. It's called confirmation. And we do something a little bit different. We take the kids out on the lake. So we call it confirmation on the lake. It's a week long. The kids come in the morning, and we do God. We talk about God's love for us, what it means to be part of the church, but more importantly, in the end of those 5 days comes my favorite day, Friday. Because just before we go out to try to get a concussion on the tube, I get to sit down with each one of those kids. And this is how the conversation always goes. Payton, I want to ask you a question. And it's up to you and totally up to you. Don't you ever feel pressured. But have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior? And she said no. Payton, do you want to today? Yes. You know what that means? That means I want to ask God to forgive me of my sins, and I want to have eternal life with him. I got to hold your daughter's hand and pray the sinner's prayer. I was with her the moment her name, Payton Alizabeth Cannon, was written into the book of life. So without a doubt in my mind, not one misunderstanding of God's word, I can promise you today that your little girl is fine. And you will see her again. Your sister, she's okay. And you'll get to bug her again later on. But one of the best parts about that is after we do the prayer and we go out and have confirmation, the kids come and they join the church, and Payton made her vows as a follower of Christ, saying she believed in Christ and she would love the church, but most importantly, she would follow God the rest of her life, through the good times and the bad times. But then the excitement that I got to experience with her was when she got baptized. And she was fully submerged at the quarry in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. You see, she was saved down there in the youth room that day. But she was born anew in the symbolism of baptism that day in the water at the lake. I have no doubt today that she's dancing. And she is looking at the eyes of God. Praise be to God. And thank you, God, for her life. David and Shawnette and Cade would like to ask if there's 3 or 4 of you that would like to give a 90-second to a 3-minute time period. If any of you would like to just come up and 3 or 4 of you just tell something about Payton, one of your memories. We're not in the church, so you can say bad words. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Please come.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison, and I had the honor to allow Payton to work for me for a little over a year. She always kept us on our toes and entertained, and she might not be as pasty as her dad, but she sure could sell a tanning membership, and she did really well. So she definitely had lots of good qualities, and I was just sitting reading our last conversation last night when she told me she was going to be pursuing a new dream and just kind of a new route. And I cried when she sent me that. She has been so professional and very, just a really good employee. And she did put in her 2 weeks, and I cried, and it was like, I'm never going to be able to replace her, but I know she is in a better place. But one of my last memories, and I have to laugh, is real quick. I was in there as she was working, and a customer came in, and on the computer screen it says, you have to put in their last name, whatever. And it was a really good-looking guy, and she was like, I forgot his name. And he comes in every day. She's like pointing at the last name, and she looked at me, and I was like, what, Payton? Is he good looking? Is that why you forgot his name? And her face turned blood red. And she was like, well, thanks, Miss Allison. I really appreciate that. And okay. And then he walks back, and she's like, it takes a lot to embarrass me, but you embarrassed me. But I'll just always remember that smile, and I really appreciate you sharing her with me the last year.
Anyone else?
I'm Piper, Peyton's aunt. when my husband and I got married, Payton was our flower girl. And she had on this beautiful cream-colored dance leotard with this hand-crocheted dress over it. And we told her, we said, okay, Payton. Cade was about 2.5 months old. And I said, okay, Payton, before you walk down the aisle, make sure you've gone and used the bathroom. I did, Piper, I'm good, I'm good. I said, okay. I said, because once the wedding starts, you can't go to the bathroom. I'm good. So my wedding started. Right as my first bridesmaid walked down the aisle, she looked at me and she said, I gotta go. I said, Payton, I can't take you to the bathroom, baby. She said, you don't understand, I've got to go. So one of my bridesmaids ran her, and of course there wasn't a bathroom nearby, all the way around the church, and she did have to go. But she didn't realize that she had to take the dress completely off and then undo the leotard and take it off. Right as they made it back to the church, my bridesmaid is completely out of breath. She barely made it down the aisle. And here's Payton. I'm so ready. Payton starts to walk down the aisle. She gets halfway down the aisle, and then she says, okay, we have to stop because I ran out of flowers. And she turned around and she went back down the aisle, picked up flowers, put them back in her basket, walked halfway down the aisle, and said, okay, I'm ready again. And she started throwing the flowers out so they would be down the rest of the aisle. So even from a very early age, Payton kept everybody on their toes. And I can remember when Shawnette and Payton and I would go out in public, people would say, is that your daughter? And I would just say, no, I'm not that lucky. I'd say that's Shawnette's daughter. So thank y'all so much for coming and supporting David, Shawnette. So we love y'all for that. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, I know. If I choke through this, I'm sorry, everybody. My sweet, sweet Payton. God knew what he was doing when he sent me a friend like you. Over the years, Payton's family and our family became very close. We spent several holiday dinners together where we'd share funny stories and many laughs. What started out as us being neighbors turned into one of the most beautiful bonds our family could have ever been blessed with. The Cannons became our second family. Payton and I became especially close this year. I was going through some difficult situations and prayed every single day for friendships that would make me feel whole again. And there came Payton. We were always close, but our bond grew stronger. We became sisters. Every time Payton came over, she'd have a great big smile on her face. Everyone around her couldn't help but smile just as big. Her presence alone was enough to light up a room. She was full of so much life and energy. I really tried to match hers all the time. Most of the time, I'd be tired from studying, which Payton understood. Not once did my busy schedule get in the way of our friendship. She continued to push and encourage me to do my best. We were on my porch one evening, and I'll never forget her saying, Ashley, you're the shit, and you need to start acting like it. I didn't even believe that about myself at the time, but Payton saw something in me, something that I didn't see in myself, because that's who she was. She saw the best in everyone. We went out to Charlotte one night, and Payton was so excited to finally experience the nightlife. We had the time of our life that night. We got back to her apartment and couldn't help but laugh at the fact that everyone looked at us as if I was her babysitter. I protected her all night. When we got back, she made me orange chicken and mozzarella sticks. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard. Payton, thank you for bringing out the life in me that I didn't know I had, for making me a better person, and for always sticking by my side. I will miss you more than words could ever express. I can't wait to have our dance parties in heaven. I'll let you pick out the playlist. I love you, P. My beautiful friend that was an angel on earth and now an angel watching over us. The best friend I could ask for and a second sister. Words can't express the gratitude I have. For that love and friendship Payton showed me. She was your go-to person, the one that always had your back, your phone call in the middle of the night, pick you up and take you for a coffee when you're down, blare music with the windows down until you're smiling, or even just sitting with you in silence when you need company. She was that kind of friend. Starting my freshman year of high school, Payton looked out for me, and some days let me sit at the lunch table, which was a huge step up from the well-known dreaded overlook where the freshmen had to eat. We rode to school together every morning, courtesy ride of Will Bowden. Just to paint the picture, our mornings often look like 2014 J. Cole with Will's eardrum-bursting subs, iced chai latte in hand, all at 7 a.m. Don't get me wrong, though. We were never on time. 7 a.m. was a rare occasion, and we spent most of our afternoons at the end of each semester in makeup time, because although being neighbors, we couldn't get it together enough to wake each other up for school. Payton made every holiday so much more special, and I'll greatly miss sitting across from her at the dining room table, one glass of wine after another, and another. Payton was the most selfless person. She made sure to make time for you, and she knew all the right things to say when you needed her. I wish I could embody the person Payton was all in one speech, but she was too great for that. One of the greatest people I've ever been blessed to know. To my second sister, the one who looked out for me, had my back, laughed with me until we couldn't breathe, and loved me unconditionally. I love you, and I miss you so much already. You were taken way too soon, but you will live on in my heart forever. Fly high, Pete, until we meet again, my dancing queen.
We have time for one more. Anyone?
I'm gonna try to hold it together, guys. One of my favorite things about my sister was she was so competitive, and one of my favorite memories I will always have, one of the last ones, was sitting in the backyard of the O'Learys, and my sister looked at me going, "You know what? We can beat the champs." That was Mr. Chris and them. And my sister looks at me and goes, "We got this." And I swear to you, not a minute in, my sister looks at me and goes, "You suck." We were, to be fair, we did suck. And there were points that I had my moments with her where I would be good, and she'd be like, "All right, now you gotta keep it going." And then I would go back to that, to sucking. But one of my favorite things was knowing my sister would be my best friend. She always will be. But my favorite thing, though, is my sister gave me all of her friends and brought them to me. And give me a second family, give me new sisters, a second dad, second mom. And my favorite thing was the day we found out what happened to Payton. I can't help but laugh about seeing, we said maybe 5 times, all of us on Payton, our driveway, singing Rich Girl 5 times in a row. Because that was Payton's song, and I can't help but think Payton looked down on us thinking, what are these idiots doing? You're supposed to be laughing and singing it, not full of tears and just sing there. And one thing I can't beat about my sister that I will never be able to beat her at was being the one that was a champ at going anywhere barefoot. in the car to my dad's apartment. One day she went barefoot in the Walgreens, didn't care. My mom only has one pair of slippers because one's in her apartment and I don't know what the other one is. Jackie has them, yeah. But I can't help but thank my sister for giving me so many amazing people and helping me live my life to the fullest. From freshman year to now being a senior, I always thought that I never got to live my life to the fullest until she started to help me. I never knew how much my sister meant to people, and how many people she touched, until I saw all of you here today. My sister is to this day and will always be my guardian angel. Thank you guys so much for coming. I love all of you. I miss you, Payton. I'm gonna love you to the day I die. I can't wait to go in heaven and actually show them how good we are at beer pong.
Kate, I want you to know that I am very proud of you. There are not many seniors in high school that could get up and do that, what you just did. And I know that your mom and your dad are so proud of the young man that you're becoming, but also the legacy that you're going to get to carry with her and for her. David is going to get up and speak in just a moment, but before that, we have a video.
Dear daughter, hold your head up high. There's a world outside that's passing by. Dear daughter, never lose yourself. Remember that you're like nobody else. Life throws you into the unknown, and you feel like you're out there all alone. Well, these are words that every girl should have a chance to hear. There will be love, there will be pain, there will be hope, there will be fear. And through it all, year after year, stand or fall, I will be right here for you. Dear daughter, don't worry about those stupid girls. If they try to bring you down, it's 'cause they're scared and insecure. Dear daughter, don't change for any man, even if he promises the stars and takes you by the hand. Life throws you into the unknown, and you feel like you're out there all alone. Well, these are words that every girl should have a chance to hear. There will be love, there will be pain, there will be hope, there will be fear. And through it all, year after year, stand or fall, I will be right here for you. Dear daughter, I was just like you, and just like me, you're gonna make it through. Well, these are words that every girl should have a chance to hear. There will be love, there will be pain, there will be hope,
If I may deviate for a moment, I'm going to assume, Kate, by beer pong, you meant Coca-Cola pong. Seeing as how you have yet to even turn 18 years old. But we can discuss that outside later. It was only water. We're sure about that. Okay. Okay. That birthday, that video you just saw was for Payton's 18th birthday. For her 21st birthday a few weeks ago, she spent the day with her mom. She got some great jewelry from her mom that she loved, and they had a great time together that day. My fiance Amanda surprised Payton with a bachelorette trip to Las Vegas. The two of them were going to go on before we get married. And then I took Payton and Amanda and all of her friends. We all went out to Fahrenheit to have dinner. And we had a great time, a wonderful, wonderful time. And then we all went back to our place in Uptown Charlotte, where the girls were kind enough to gift me with an excessive noise warning from management. So 2 more of those, and I have to move out. So thank you, ladies, for that. After I treated you to dinner, I get a nice note the next day saying it was way too much noise on your balcony last night. So I appreciate it. Just so you don't worry, during the intermission, we will be taking food and drink orders because you have given me a microphone and a chance to talk about my daughter. We may be here a while. If I gave you 1 second and said, if I gave you a second and said, come up with an image of Payton in your mind right now, I can guarantee you I would see smiles all over this room. So come up with an image of Payton in your mind right now, because that's what she would have loved. Payton was her mother's daughter. Payton had a unique way of referring to everyone in the family. Everyone kind of got tagged with something. Shawnette was her girl, and she would tell you, Shawnette's my girl. And for all the people who have talked about her name and how neat it is and all that kind of stuff, I wish I could say I had something to do with that, but I had absolutely zero to do with it. Shawnette gets full credit for that. A tribute to my mom was part of it, and the other part was we wanted her to have we were hoping she would have a unique personality, and obviously we didn't know anything about her at the time. And Shawnette thought, why don't we put an A instead of an E, and it's kind of like how people pronounce it anyway, and it turned out to be something that Payton absolutely loved because nobody would get it. It's Elizabeth? She was like, no, it's Elizabeth with an A. And it gave her something a little bit different. I always thought it was neat the way they would just sit and talk. When Payton was little, she would follow Shawnette around outside and doing things, and then as she got older, you could see, as most people do, that relationship transform, and they had time to sit and talk. But then what was really neat was as the years changed, Payton got older and her friends were there and began to hang around. You would see them collectively sitting around and talking. I don't know what they were talking about. I would often wonder. I mean, I don't want to know what they were talking about, but I still wondered what they were talking about. It was neat to see through the years that bond grow because obviously they were mother-daughter, but they became friends and confidants and helped each other in a variety of ways. And when Payton was little, Shawnette always dressed her with a real sense of style, but she was always particular to let her pick like one thing here or there, kind of helping her along the way to learn to make decisions. And that was always something that I enjoyed and was interesting to see how Payton manifested as she grew. That kind of became an unusual sense of style that she had when she decided to put shoes on. By the way, I'm appalled that she went into Walgreens barefoot. That might be the worst thing I've heard here today. Even worse than her use of the S word. Payton could have a temper. She could be hard-headed. And there's a rumor that her father could be a little hard-headed. So luckily, Payton had a mother who could navigate the choppy waters from time to time. For example, Payton was a softball player, and she was burdened with her father as one of her assistant coaches her entire life. And sometimes, because we didn't lose that many games, just want to throw it, 3 years state champ, 3 years champs, 3 years in a row. Only lost one game during those 3 years, but you know. So when we would lose a game, it wasn't exactly a smooth ride home, because I would try to, well, let's talk about it. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. And finally, Shawnette was the one that pointed out, you know, you don't have to talk to her right after the game. We could all just ride home in silence, because that's way better than what we've been doing. So she was there to bring some logic to the discussion. Payton once, when she was little, I don't remember what she did, but clearly she was not appreciating the things that she had. And Shawnette told her, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these two things out of your room, and I'm going to sit them on the landing upstairs here. And when you begin to act right and appreciate what you have, we will put them back into your room. And I remember thinking, like, wow, that's way better than the yelling that I was going to do. That's really, like, that's sharp. That's good. And about, I don't know, 15 minutes later, and if you're a parent, you know you've had that moment where you look at the other person and with that look of like, I don't know what that noise is, but it's probably not good. And we go upstairs to find Payton has removed everything from her room. Bedspread, sheets, clothes out of the drawers, and it's all now piled up on the landing upstairs, and it's all up there. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, Mom's right, I don't deserve anything. So it took us about 2 hours to get everything back in the room. I mean, she'd taken stuff off the walls. It was ridiculous. But Payton loved her mother with all her heart. And Tuesday evening, she had stopped by the house, and they had a great conversation. And that's truly a blessing that they had that time. It's a wonderful blessing, because no stone was left unturned, as the way it should be. Now, as you've heard, Payton was also a great big sister. Cade was her guy. She would tell you, Cade's my guy. I got him. You know, he's pointed out her brother's best friend, that bond that just grew through the years. But they were brother and sister. And she called me one day about, I don't know, 5 years ago, and she said, Dad, you remember you always told me that one day Cade was going to get tired of me messing with him and he was going to fight back? And I said, yeah. She goes, it just happened and it was bad. And I said, what happened? She goes, I was poking him. And I was punching at him. And I said, what you gonna do? You gonna fight back? You gonna fight back? Because she would, and that's the exact voice she would use. What you gonna do? You gonna do? You gonna do something about it? She was, and Dad, he grabbed my arms and picked me up and slammed me on the ground and put his hand across my chest and he said, that is enough. And she was right. That was enough. That did not happen again. I always thought it was cool. She would allow Cade to participate in her life in ways. When her friends were around, Cade could hang around. And you know, when as a fifth grader, Cade went to the Raleigh Middle in the sixth grade to visit. You know, they take the fifth graders over to learn how the school works and everything. Cade came home, and all he could talk about was the fact that I knew everybody. Because in every class that Cade went into, somebody was like, oh, hey, Cade, what's up, man? And they're high-fiving Cade and fist bumps, and everybody's hugging him and all that. And when Payton came in, she was like, well, I guess Cade was at my school today. I didn't see him, but everybody else in school saw him, which was a really neat thing. Until, as she got older, there was a time for Cade to be in her life and a time for Cade not to be in her life. And she would have all of her friends over upstairs and would get furious because she would point out to Cade, she'd say, okay, Cade, this is just for the high school kids. And Cade's response would be, yeah, it's fine. And he would go back to talking. And she was like, Cade, this is, Cade, you're not in high school. This is high school kids only. And his response was, no, I'm fine. And just go back to talking. She was a senior his freshman year. And one of her favorite things was the fact that she was able to drive Cade to school. And one of Cade's favorite things was the fact that she was able to drive him to school. And I remember the first day, the first day of your senior year, that's a big day. That's an exciting day. And I wanted to hear, all about it. And all she wanted to tell me about was how excited Cade was and how excited Cade was to stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a donut and a Coke, very healthy breakfast, by the way, before learning. And how Cade kept asking, so this is what the high school kids do? And she's like, yes, this is what the high school kids do. And she taught him how to drive through the light and go down to the church and turn around and come back to beat the traffic and the whole thing. Do the illegal turn, the whole thing. And then she did become angry, though, when once Cade got the lay of the land, he was too cool to speak to her in the hallway. And he would have his AirPods in, and she would be furious because she would walk by him and go, hey, Cade. And she would reach out to shake his hand, and he would just fist bump her and keep walking. She said, Dad, it's people do you know him? I'm like, yeah, that's my brother, but you would never tell. They were very close. Payton would take advantage of that bond from time to time. I never could believe he would do this. She would get under the covers in her bed at night and get situated, and then she would need something, and so she wouldn't have to get up and ruin it. She would call Cade, who was in the next room, in his room, and he has been known to go down to make her a snack, to make her popcorn, to come into her room. Her bathroom was in her bedroom. She would call him to come into her room to start her bath water for her before she went to take a bath. And the worst of all, she called him once to come into the room to give her something out of her purse, which was just out of arm's reach off the edge of the bed. And I asked, I said, what are you doing? Tell her to get it herself. And he said, she does a lot for me, so I don't mind. All you really need to know about her as a sister, though, was on display the day that Cade was baptized. Because we were at the quarry, and I was seated next to Payton. And as they were going down to the water, they made the announcement that you are welcome to come join your, whoever you're with here, if you want to be in the water with them as they're baptized. And I didn't know that in advance. I wasn't dressed for it. I thought that's a really neat idea. And Payton looked at me and she said, I'm going to go. And I said, okay. And she goes, I want to be a part of this with him. And there was a picture. It was here if you were here for the wake last night. And I know for Shawnette and for me, man, I couldn't have been more proud of that moment, because as Cade came out of the water from being baptized, there was Payton, and she reached out to welcome him and hug him. And in the most important moment of his life, she just wanted to be there for him. And that's all you can ask for. Payton was a lot of things. She was a maid of honor to be. She was really hit it off with Amanda the first time that they met. She lived with me and Amanda for 6 months on the top floor of my condo. And I must say, she enjoyed, that was the room where my electronic drums were, and she enjoyed being awakened when I felt she'd slept too long by a voracious drum solo. She loved Amanda's basset hound, Toby, who she referred to as Sweet Prince. And when we got engaged, I was floored when Amanda said she wanted Payton to be her maid of honor. And Payton will still be the maid of honor. They did clash about one thing. I raised Payton the way I was raised, Mom, that you don't drink out of glass unless there's some type of a meal happening. You use plastic cups the rest of the time. And Amanda can't understand the concept of just drinking out of a plastic cup for no reason. And so there was always this back and forth of removing plastic, putting it in, and so forth and so on. And so when we had our engagement luncheon, Payton had purchased, so I don't know how she found them, but they're 2 plastic solo cups atop wine stems. One says Mr., one says Mrs., And that was her grand gift. And it could not have been more perfect. She loved her grandparents. She could sit and talk to her Mimi and laugh for hours. I've never been a part of a more unusual and weird conversation than just before Payton's 18th birthday, when Payton and my mom, Payton said, I think I'm going to get a tattoo for my 18th birthday. And my mom blurted out, I've always wanted a tattoo. I was like, who are you right now? And a few weeks later, and if you've seen the video earlier, there are pictures. I'm sitting in a tattoo parlor in Mooresville, and my mom and my daughter are getting matching tattoos on the back of their necks, their little crosses. And then my sister went and got one and added to it, so I'm the only one that doesn't have one now, and I'm fine with that. But she loved her grandfather and her grams, aunts and family, whether near and far. She was a great friend. I say that because that's what her friends told me. I asked some of her friends the other day, I said, would you just email me a couple of stories? Share a story with me about Payton to let me know more about, the things that y'all did together. And the things that kept coming up were things like loyal, kind, dependable. Payton once told me a story about a friend of hers at school who was going through a difficult time after experiencing a family tragedy. And I was asked, well, what did you do? She goes, I stopped her and told her, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. And would you mind if we prayed together? That's the person that's who we wanted our daughter to be. And that's who she was when nobody else knew what she was doing. One of her friends referred to Payton as a beautiful woman who handed out kindness and sunshine to everyone. And those are her friends. That's who she was when we weren't around. And that means everything. Payton was comfortable with people young and old. She could sit and talk to her Aunt Piper for a long time and then turn around and talk to her cousin Jeremiah and play games with him for a long time. She would come on the radio with us from time to time, and she was always respectful but very at ease, and could easily fall into what they like to think was witty banter, making fun of me with TJ that quick on a moment's notice. For those of you who are here, I know a lot of people have come from all over, and I guess there are some people watching on the internet. I'm going to refer to a couple of people as aunt and uncle, and it's not blood, it's a Southern thing, just know that. She referred to, one day she told me that she and her Uncle Alan started discussing, I don't know how they got on buying cars, and he told her, I'll buy you a Mercedes. And then without my knowledge, she would randomly from time to time just text him pictures of Mercedes that she would find. No copy, no con, just here's the picture. Boom, check this one out. Boom, this one's kind of close to you, and he check, go look at this one. She told me just a couple weeks ago something about she and that her Uncle Bird had told her. And I said, when did you talk to Uncle Bird? She was, oh, we text. Like, okay, I didn't know y'all text from time to time. I had no idea. I was done with that part. Payton loved being out on the lake. We would, when we moved to up to Lake Norman, I told Shana, I said, I hope she's a lake kid. I hope Cade's a lake kid. I hope they love taking advantage of this opportunity. She didn't disappoint. She did disappoint with the fact that you couldn't keep the bumpers on the side of the boat. You tell, like, Payton, I bought 4. Why are there only 2 and they're both on one side? She was like, well, I'm pretty sure there were 4 when I came back. I don't know. Our friend Adam, we call him Coach Adam, called me one day. He uses the boat a lot too. And he said, hey, did you know the ladder's broken on the back of the boat? And I said, I did not know the ladder was broken on the back of the boat. And I said, okay, I'll see what's going on. He said, I'm going to try to fix it. I said, okay. And I called Payton and I said, hey, you took the boat out there. Was the ladder broken? And she goes, no, it wasn't. And I said, well, Coach Adam got there and he said, the ladder's broken. She goes, do you think he broke it? And I remember thinking to myself, okay, she didn't accuse him. She just asked me if I thought it. And I said, no. I said, okay, we'll figure it out. And she goes, okay. And about 2 weeks later, she calls me. And I said, what's going on? And she said, there was a pause. And she goes, you know I broke the ladder on the boat, don't you? And I said, Payton, I've known you broke the ladder on the boat before I ever called you to ask you if you broke the ladder on the boat. She said, I knew it. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to call you to tell you. She wasn't perfect. And I debated telling this story, and I don't mean, I hope I'm not taking up too much time. I love talking about my daughter. Stay with me because this is worth it at the end. You'll get to see what kind of a person she was, and it makes me smile so big thinking about this. But let's start with junior prom. She got a little too excited. And totally without the approval of her parents, I would like to point out, she had a little too many drinks and did not make it to the prom. Made it to the commode, and there was a picture taken apparently. So fast forward a couple months, and she thought we were over it, and she said, "I just want to show you something. This is the picture that was taken of me." And I was like, "Oh, why would you show me that?" She goes, "It's funny." I said, "It's not funny. It's not funny. I don't find it funny today. I probably won't ever find it funny. It's not funny." And Payton was like, okay. Well, I thought it was funny. Sorry. And normally that would be the end of it, but this is where who Payton was as a person comes into play, because Payton decides, well, it's time to double down. And at Christmas, one of the gifts she gave me was a refrigerator magnet of that photo that she had blown up. And she left it on my fridge when she left at Christmas. And so I took it down and put it in the drawer. And this was Christmas before her the spring of her senior year of high school. And she would come by, and I would come home and walk in the door and drop my stuff, and it would be back up on the refrigerator. And she and Kate had stopped by in the morning, and they just for the sole purpose of walking in, putting it on the refrigerator, then walking back out. And so I would take it down, put it in the drawer, and go about my business. And then she would start to put it up and then leave a note that would say something like, "Don't fight it." I would put it away. And the next day it would be up, and there would be a note that said, "Why do you do this to yourself?" So a year later at Christmas, Amanda had the idea. She said, we have to recreate that. So I got dressed up and sat by the toilet, laid my head. We painstakingly recreated this photo of me looking like Payton was at her junior prom, and gave it to her as a refrigerator magnet. And here's where she gets the last laugh, because she then put it on the refrigerator of her apartment with no explanation. So everybody that went in there just saw a picture of her father hovering over the toilet. And people would say, "Who's that?" She'd say, "Oh, that's my dad." And then leave it like that, because she knew in her heart of hearts she was winning the battle. You know, Wednesday night, after all this had happened, I said out loud, just to no one in particular, what do I do now? What do I do now? And immediately the answer occurred to me is, man, I'm going to live. I'm going to live for Payton. Cade's going to live for Payton. Everybody in this room, all of her friends, you got a lot to do, because you're going to live for Payton now. Because she's, you say was, but it's what Payton is. Payton is in all of our hearts. She was a blessing that God gave us for the time that she was here. Payton laughed loud, and you're not going to have to laugh a little bit louder. Payton loved with all of her heart. When she loved something or loved somebody, she loved with all of her heart. And you're going to have to find a way to open your heart a little bit wider to more people, because that's what Payton would do. And you're going to hug a little bit tighter, and you're going to help a few more people, and you're going to be a little bit kinder, and you're going to make someone else's life better, because that's what she was going to do, and that's who she wanted to be. Life wasn't always fair, and life wasn't always kind to Payton. But you know, I used to tell her the same thing my mom would tell me during difficult times. You keep putting one foot in front of the other. And sometimes when it got bad, I would say, you know, Payton, she would say, I know, it's one foot in front of the other. So we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot to do to honor her and to be the person that she was going to be. Because if we don't, and we just remember how fun Payton was, then all of this has been for nothing. And this all can be for nothing. Shawnette was her girl. Cade was her guy. And that just leaves me. I was her dude. She would tell everybody, David's my dude. Now, it took a while before I got used to the fact that she would use my first name so casually. But I kind of learned that it kind of became endearing in a way years ago, and I've learned to love it after a long time. I took a look at my Instagram Wednesday night just to try to see when the last time was that she might have commented on something. And it was when I posted a picture of us on her 21st birthday, a little tribute to her, like, we all do. Happy birthday to my daughter. You're the most wonderful thing, God gave me. I couldn't have asked for anything more than a daughter. And a daughter. And her comment was, my number one dude forever. She was my everyday phone call. She was my concert companion, my confidant, and I was her dude. I was her first call, which was the greatest thing I could ever hope to have been, because anything that happened, I was her first call. When 2 weeks ago, she was driving a rental car at her time of her accident, because she and Cade were in the car coming to meet me and Amanda and my brother-in-law to have dinner, and Payton stopped at a stop sign and was hit from behind by a woman who didn't stop at the stop sign. And the phone rang, and we answered it in the car. We were like about a mile behind her. And she said, Dad, I was just in an accident. I said, well, are you okay? Is Kate okay? She goes, yes, we're okay. I said, okay, so you called 911. She goes, no, Dad, I called you first. And I said, well, hang up the phone and call 911. She goes, okay. And then later when I asked her, I said, why did you not call 911? We've done it 100 times. You call 911. She goes, Dad, you're the first call. Then I'll do whatever you tell me to do. When she was little, we just started a kind of a thing where sometimes in lieu of saying I love you, I would just tell her, got you first. And she would say, got you last. And it's kind of something that's become a thing between me and her and Cade. And almost every night I'll just text them when I go to bed, got you first. And usually by the time I wake up in the morning, they've both texted me back, got you last. And she gave me a bracelet that says, got you first, Payton on it. Which she did mess up, but it's okay. I wasn't going to tell that part. So, and when she was little, in the afternoons, I would have some time with her because, Shawnette would go, I'd have to, run errands, go to the grocery store, just take some time for herself and everything. And we would always play music. And so many of you have heard this story. I would sing the unplugged version of Maggie May to her, and she would go to sleep. And it just kind of happened one day. It wasn't planned, because I would never have planned to have been singing a very inappropriate song to a child like that. But she didn't know what the words meant. She would go sound asleep. And I would think about who would she become and what would she be and what would her life be like, because she was so little, you know. And many years later, Eddie Z and I wrote a song called Maggie Made Dreams about that. And it kind of turned into a wedding song, because in the bridge of the song, it talks about having that moment where, you know, if you're a father, when your daughter gets married, you hand her off to start her own family. And she kind of becomes a new and different person in a way. And we ended up releasing the song and making a video. And the day that we were shooting the video, Payton was so happy and so excited, and she couldn't believe that her song was going to be made into a video that people were going to be able to see and share in. And then I could not help but laugh when we first saw the video, that she would get so upset because Cade would point out, you know, people say I'm the best part of the video. And she would say, Cade, but the songs, it's like, it's my song. He'd go, I know, but I mean the video. He's like, I kind of steal the show. She goes, but it doesn't matter because it's my song. He goes, I know, I'm just saying, in the video, people like my performance. But it was to be the daddy-daughter dance at her wedding. That special father-daughter moment, that's what we decided it would be. And when we shot the video, I wanted her in it, but not obvious. We were trying to think of different ways to do it, like maybe a photo of us, we would pan by it on a table or something like that, just so she shows up. And it just so happens that when we shot the video, we were filming on a deck, and as the shot pulls out, Payton had walked over to watch, and she was sitting at a table to our left on the right-hand side of the screen. And I caught her there out of the corner of my eye, strictly, some would say by accident. I happen to think it's where she was supposed to be. And I glanced over and saw her there, and Eddie noticed it, and the videographer kind of noticed it, and we're like, okay, don't say anything. And when we actually went back and finished the video, you'll see that as it pulls back, she's there, and she's clapping in the very end of the video, because that's where she was supposed to be. On behalf of our entire family, man, we thank you for the outpouring of love and support that you have shown us. It has picked us up and carried us through the worst days of our lives. I said the other day, I did not know that a heart could break this much. But you have been here, all of you, in some way. And you have been God's blessing for us. And we are so very thankful. These are one of those moments where people always talk about what we would do for someone, what they would want us to do. Well, Payton would want you to tell a funny story, remember the good times, help a friend, and smile, because that's what she did. We want you to fill your hearts with love and think of her and remember her and carry you with her, so that this is all not for nothing, as they say. Because God gave her a lot of love to give to us. And now we have to take God's love that he gave to her, that she gave to us, and give it to others for her. God bless you all so much. And Payton, I got you first.
Shuffle up a memory, a little one for you and me. Turn off the phone, turn the stereo on. Turn up the music to our favorite song. Your hands up coming down the hall. Into my arms where you never fall. Head on my shoulder, hands on my wrist. I would sing and you'd fall fast asleep. I'd pray the Lord for the moment to keep. Everything was as perfect as it seemed. Just me and you and I, Maggie made dreams. Now you shuffle up one for me. I turn away and try to see, how'd we get here to this place? So many lines upon my face from the laughter that you bring. But just one time again, I wish I had your head on my shoulder, hands on my wrist. I would sing and you'd fall fast asleep. I'd pray the Lord for the moment to keep. Everything was as perfect as it seemed. Just me and you and I, Maggie made dreams. I would dream of you and everything that you could be. Even though the song was wrong, it's my best memory. And one day the night will come and love will take a chance. I'll give your hand to another man, but not before one last dance. I would sing and you'd fall fast asleep. I'd pray the Lord for the moment to keep. Everything was as perfect as it seemed. Just me and you and I, Maggie made dreams.
As we close today, I would just like to read scripture that you've all heard of. You probably already know it by heart, but I want you to hear it, maybe from Payton's eyes today. Mom and Dad, Kate, I want you to know that the Lord is my shepherd, and I don't want for anything. God has made me lie down in the green pastures, and he is leading myself beside all the still waters. You see, God has totally restored my soul, and he is leading me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yes, this past week I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, but I fear no evil, because God was with me then, and God is with me now. His rod and his staff are comforting me, and God has prepared a huge Louisiana feast before me. Even in the presence of the things I used to be afraid of. I was blessed here on earth, but now here, my head has been anointed with oil, and Mom and Dad, my cup is running over. Surely goodness and mercy are going to follow me all the days of my life. But I promise you, one day, we'll see each other again, and we will all dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
There's a light that glows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. When childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church 'cause your mama says to. Visit grandpa every chance that you can. Won't be wasted time. Always stay humble and kind. Oh, the door said please, said thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Know the difference between sleeping